and entirely different audience.
Yes, I think you've both got separate followings.
Yeah.
You'll no doubt be delighted to know that in a recent poll, I think it was 62% of men and 56% of women preferred you as James Bond.
Well, you can't fight intelligence.
Indeed you can.
Bond's gone on now for 40 years and other actors have taken part. Why do you think its success is so enduring?
The ingredients are all there for the kind of movie that people want to see. It has very good entertaining value. For example, it's a spectrum of actors. I mean, from myself to Daniel Craig, who I thought was fantastic, marvellous in the part.
Daniel Craig said he saw all the films, but he took an immense amount from your films. I suppose nicked is a good word.
Yeah, well, I'm flattered. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's there to see. And the day...
Namaste.
I pick my things.
Check out the newest strength equipment at Planet Fitness. Join the club today.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my laboratory. For safety, #1 priority. Get out of my video, Steve! Alright, let's get to it. So, it's winter, there's a lot of snow or rain, you know what I mean? And you got shoes like that, and if it's rain or snow, and your shoes will get soaked really easily. So I'm gonna show you how to make your shoes water resistant with a candle. All we need is a candle. All we need is a candle and hair blower, and hair dry blower, whatever you call it. Okay, let's get to it. Alright, we're going to grab the shoe and start rubbing the candle on a shoe, on that material. Alright guys, check it out. This is how it's gonna look. You see, this one have wax on it, this one doesn't. So, but you see, to get rid of all the wax, we're gonna blow the air dryer and like put it on high heat, and it's gonna disappear. Let's check it out. You see how fast it's disappeared, the white stuff? What happens, it smells between every single hole in there, and you won't even see the wax. Okay, I'm gonna let it cool off a little bit, because right now it's very, very hot. And they just look a little bit darker, but almost the same. So, Once I'm gonna put the wax on this one, they all gonna look alike. Once it cools off, we're gonna test it out. Pour some water, the one I have not put the wax, and pour some water, the one I put wax on it. And we'll see if it works or not. First I'm gonna pour water on the one shoe that I have not put wax on, and let's see what happens. As you can see, water kind of stays in it. You see it's all wet now, like right here. How about on the side? You see it's going inside.
Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. How to make your own waterproofing solution for leather, canvas, and almost any material. You're going to need to run to the hardware store and just pick up a couple of ingredients. But this particular solution is very inexpensive to make. It's very easy to make. You don't have to cook anything. Easy to apply, and it lasts a long time. We're going to start with a tube of 100% silicone. It has to be clear silicone, 100%. Also, a can of odorless mineral spirits. Mineral spirits is kind of like paint thinner, except it's more refined and doesn't have as much of a stench. You're going to start by squeezing out the entire tube of clear silicone into a container. I'm just using a 1-quart container because I was able to find a cap for it. Chinese soup container works perfect. Then you're going to fill about half of that container, so about half a quart, with the mineral spirits. I did a lot of research on the web and tried a couple of different waterproofing solutions. I like this one the best. Not only because of its ability to keep water out of shoes, but also because of the ease of mixing it. You don't have to cook and melt wax and play around with flammable materials and flame. All you have to do is just mix this silicone into the mineral spirits. You do have to mix it for quite a little while, a couple of minutes of stirring, just to get all of that paste into a slurry. So a couple of minutes of vigorous mixing. If you do have a container with a secure cap on it, another great way of doing it is to shake that up so that you're really getting that silicone into a suspension. Now it's really the mineral spirits that are going to drag that silicone into the material. It's going to soak into the material very nicely, dragging that silicone slurry with it, and then the mineral spirits will basically evaporate, leaving the silicone base. Now I tested it on a sheet of paper towel before I wanted to try it on my boots. So what I did was I painted a small section of that paper towel with the mixture, and I set it aside to dry. I actually let it dry overnight. Probably didn't need that long. When it was all dry, number one, notice that it didn't really change the color of the paper towel too bad, and the water just pours right over it, just beads up, pours right over the section that's protected. Of course, the surrounding paper towel gets wet instantly. And what's really nice about it is that no moisture got through to the other side of the paper towel. That was a real good indication that this particular solution was going to work and do the job that I wanted it to do. My biggest complaint working or playing outdoors in any type of weather is you end up with, I end up with wet socks, which I just hate. This particular pair of boots is just an old pair of boots. They leak. I always end up with wet socks with them. So what I wanted to do was just paint this very liberal coating, making sure that all of the seams are heavily coated so that that material, that solution can really penetrate deep into those seams. So paint it on. Don't skimp on this. Really paint on a good coat. Once you've covered all of the seams and all of the leather, then I'm actually going to take another sheet of paper towel and just rinse off some of the excess material, and then I'll set this aside to dry. You do want to air it out and dry it in a mineral spirit container says it's odorless. It's really not. It does have a good smell. It takes, a good day or so for the leather to get rid of that smell. All right, so here's our test. The boot on the left-hand side of the screen is protected with our solution. You can see that the water, when I pour it off the boot, it just beads up and runs off of the boot. So that's a pretty good indication that it's going to work. I still want to test to make sure that none of the water is getting in through the seams. So I took that same boot, I took a paper towel, jammed it inside the boot, and I'm going to just immerse the toe of that boot into a bucket of water. Kind of crude, but makes my point. The desired result here is that I don't want to end up with wet socks. So I figured that if the paper towel is dry after 2 or 3 minutes of immersion, then I'm good to go. After almost 3 minutes in that bucket of water, took out the paper towel, and the paper towel is completely dry. So none of that water is getting through the seams. The silicone solution did a perfect job. I was so impressed with it that I actually coated some old sneakers that I wear, laying around in the yard. I coated a variety of different work shoes that I use outdoors, and also some boots getting prepared for the winter. Very easy, do-it-yourself waterproofing solution. You can mix up a half quart of this, just about $10. The solution lasts a long time. It does a very, very nice job. Just make sure you air it out, get rid of that smell completely, and make sure you test it on the material that you're going to use it on so that you're not dissatisfied with any other changes. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos.
Larry Dominic has abused Cicero's trust. He raised our taxes while handing out high salaries to friends and family. He's attacking the very people who built this town. Cicero deserves better.
I am Esteban Rodriguez, and I am running to put Cicero's families first.
I'll fight to cut taxes, invest in our schools, and finally tackle crime and flooding issues.
It's time to end Larry Dominic's corruption. Vote for Esteban Rodriguez and Cicero Residents United.
Your new home deserves Xfinity.
And this?
I like the snowflakes.
Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. How to make your own do-it-yourself PVC boot dryer or boot and glove drying rack. Now, anybody that works or plays in the snow or even in the outdoors can benefit from a drying rack. When you're outdoors all day long in the snow or in the rain, your boots are going to get wet, your gloves are going to get wet. And this is just a very simple way of drying those very, very quickly. And the neat thing is that it only uses PVC. Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. How to make a fish-shaped nautical wine bottle bird feeder. These bird feeders can be made out of any glass bottle. We use Trex so that it's weather resistant. And of course, you could also use wood if you prefer. We're going to start the project by making a template out of cardboard that perfectly fits the bottle that you choose to use. I decided to use a clear bottle so you could see the bird feeder. I then transferred that template onto a piece of Trex, and I'm going to cut out the basic design just with a jigsaw. Now, the design allows for the Trex to be a frame for the bottle. So it's going to give the design of the fish, and it's going to cover the top and the back and the front of the bottle, but not the bottom. We're going to drill four holes through the wine bottle. When the bottle is horizontal, these are going to be basically towards the bottom of the bottle, but still high enough so that the seeds will be allowed to flow out into a tray. We'll see that in a minute. I'm also going to drill 3 holes through the top fins of the Trex fish, and I'm going to use those to wrap water through the that will secure the bottle to the treads. Also, we use a larger drill to drill out the fish's body. And we can use a Dremel tool with different attachments to add some contrast to the fish, maybe sand over the tail a little bit, add some lines for the gills, etc. The bottle is going to be attached to the fish just with some heavy gauge wire. Wires routed through the hole in the Trex fish, wrapped around the bottle, and then with a pair of pliers, you can just twist that wire. You want it to be snug to the Trex. You don't want this bottle to loosen up as it's floating around and being blown around outside, hanging from a tree limb. You also don't want to apply too much pressure to the bottle. You don't want to crack the glass, of course. Just enough tension to hold that bottle firmly to the Trex. You can see the holes in the bottle. To drill holes in the glass, please refer to our separate video on that. Just a little bit too much to cover in one short video. I use an extra piece of wire towards the tail of the fish. Now, notice the cavity for the screw top on this, in this case, is long enough so that I can still access that and remove that screw top. That's how I'll get the birdseed into the bottle. In order to make the tray for the birdseed, I found a brown PVC top for a fence post. I happen to have this one laying around, but you can pick these up at Home Depot. And I'm going to cut a V shape out of each side of that fence post cap, leaving an hour shape piece. That hour shaped piece, I'm going to use a little bit of a heat gun. You could also use a hair dryer to heat up the center, and then I'm just going to bend it down, give it the curvature of fins, of fish's fins. Once that cools off, it will hold that shape. The two uprights on either side I'm going to trim down a bit, and I'm going to use that to form the base of the cavity or the tray that's going to hold the birdseed. I'm going to make this look a little bit more like a fish's fin just by cutting some grooves on either end. Those grooves are not going deep enough where it will cut into the wall that was still protruding on either end. You'll see when I flip it over. Alright, so now I'm going to use a couple more scrap pieces of that same brown plastic to form the walls. I'm not going to attach them yet. I'm actually not going to even finish carving them until we attach this fin to the bottle. This way I can see exactly the round shape of the bottle and how exactly I have to cut those small tabs. The lower fins are attached to the bottle the same way that the bottle is attached.
To be donning the mantle and being handed the shield didn't matter.
Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com. How to easily sew leather with a Speedy Stitcher sewing awl. Now the Speedy Stitcher is a very cool little device that makes sewing very thick material very easy. So you can sew leather with it, canvas, anything like that. It's also made, or versions of it are made from a couple of different companies, but basically they work the same. They do come with instructions, although if you're like me and a visual learner, sometimes it's easier just to watch one of these YouTube videos. Now, I'm going to start by making a groove in the leather. You don't have to do this. This is a very basic leather working tool, and it creates a groove that the thread will sit in. So the finished product, the thread will not be above the leather and it won't fray during use. Another basic leather tool is just a stamp, which dictates where each stitch is going to be. It's a very uniform size, very easy to follow. Neither one of those is mandatory. This is a little trick of the trade. When sewing thick leather, I find it a lot easier to use a 1/16 diameter drill bit and actually drill those holes. So So what I would do if this wasn't just a demonstration is I would glue the two pieces of leather together with rubber cement, and then I would run that 1/16 diameter drill bit through each of those predetermined spacers. And that's going to make pushing that awl through the leather much, much easier. Now this is the Speedy Stitcher sewing awl. If you unscrew the front cap, you'll notice that there's storage there for a couple of additional needles. You'll also notice that there's a groove, not only in the tool, but also along the one edge of the needle. Now we're going to call the edge of the needle that has that groove the front of the needle. And that's going to be important a little bit later as we start to sew. Probably the most difficult part of the whole project is just threading the needle. Anyway, once the needle is threaded, you're going to put that cap back on. That has to be secured fairly tight because that is also the clamping mechanism that clamps the needle into the jaws, or into place. Now, as we work our way back along that tool, there's a little knob. That's a tension knob, and then what they want you to do is wrap the thread around that tensioning knob so that you can apply tension when you're pulling each stitch tight. I don't use that. I find that when I do use it, it's too much tension and the cord actually frays on a sharp edge on the needle. In the back compartment, there's a spool. You basically just wrap the thread around that spool. I also don't use that because it's a limited amount of thread. If you're working on a big project, you can run out, without even seeing that you're about to run out. So I basically just have the thread come out the back of the handle to a full spool of thread. Now we're going to start to sew by pushing the needle completely through and then backing it up a little bit, and it creates a loop. Now for the first thread, you want to grab that loop so that you end up with an end on the left side or on the back side. Then with that needle facing forward, which means the groove facing forward, you're going to push the needle through the next drilled hole. All the way through, then pull it back a little bit, it will create a loop, and then you just take the end of the thread. You want to do all of these exactly the same. Come up through that loop and over the top of the needle, and then pull the needle back out, pull it tight. If you do every one exactly the same, all of your sutures will come out beautifully. Needle facing forward, you don't want to turn this in like a drill bit. You want to just push it straight through. Up with the thread through the loop, over the top of the needle, and pull that tight. Now I'm going to show you this from a couple of different angles. So this is from the front of the workpiece. I've got my leather clamped in place. I'm going to pull the end through on the first stitch so that you have end. The amount of thread that you need on the back side should be slightly more than the length of the material that you have to sew. So if you're going to sew 12 inches, you probably want to have about 14 or 16 inches of thread dangling off the back end. Each suture you're going to pull tight, and then with the needle facing forward, you're going to advance one hole and repeat the process. Put the end through the loop in the back, over the top of the needle, pull it tight. A very simple and efficient way of sewing. This particular tool, I use it for making knife sheaths, so using fairly thick leather, and it does a really nice job. Just one more different angle, and then I'm going to show you how you finish up the thread at the tail end of the work. Now I always do it the exact same way. I feed the thread up from the bottom over the top of the needle, pull it tight, needle facing forward, push through, pull back a little bit so it creates that loop. My thread goes up from the bottom, over the top of the needle, and I pull it tight. Now, when we get towards the end of the work, you're going to want to back thread this a little little bit just to secure it. So this is actually the last stitch. Do this one just like every other stitch. And then I'm going to back up. So I'm going to back up one hole. Create my loop. Put the thread through the loop. Pull it tight. One more hole. I like to do at least two. Now I'm going to grab that thread on the back. You can use an awl or a pen, any way you can grab it. Pull the needle out, and then you're going to cut the thread on the needle side. And then you're going to pull it through. So you're basically going to end up with two ends of the thread on the back side of the work. And those you're just going to tie into a knot. And then depending on the thread, if it's a nylon thread, you can just melt that a little bit and fuse it together. But it really is as easy as that. A very, very simple way of sewing heavy material, canvas, leather, etc. This was actually my very first project using the Speedy Stitcher sewing wall. Threads came out very nice. I was very happy with the end result. Picture of the finished product. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos, including knife making videos. And if you like this video, I ask that you please...
This life hack changed me. Today I'm trying this waterproofing spray that helps protect your items. I sprayed outside because the scent is strong and let it dry for a few. Then I doused my brand new sneakers in ketchup. After, I poured water on it and watched the ketchup slide right off. I wiped them down and they were as good as new. This life hack changed me. Today I'm trying this waterproofing spray that helps protect.
Ooh, how do you make your shoes waterproof? Let me show you. I'm going to be using the Reshoevn8r water and stain repellent. This stuff works wonders. Ooh. Oh, all right, and this is the real test right here.
If you do this little trick, you can make your shoes waterproof. Before knowing, if you think this puppy is cute, then give it a like and subscribe the video. To make shoes waterproof, all you need is some beeswax.
John.
think that's my load, actually.
Word, this your load, dog?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
You
my
pretty
load.
sure this your load? Because I'm pretty sure this is my shit, dog.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. This all my shit.
¿Les doy comida?
Yeah.
Estaba esperando el señor de la basura para decirle que se lleve 4 botes, que no necesito tantos. Entonces, ¿quién diablos acarrea con tantos botes? ¿Tú crees que voy a echar sal?
Tiene que esperar.
¿Tú la echas?
No, digo que es bueno esperar.
Ok, y yo me voy a ir a trabajar. ¿Y quién va a echar sal? ¿Tú?
Eso se echa después. Después de la primera limpiada.
Ahí me dieron botes. Para la basura. En el chavo.
¿Qué le va?
Que me voy a cantar.